Back at it again with another video. So today's video, we're gonna watch 10 10 missing people found alive on video. Now it amazes me how people come up missing and then just pop up out of nowhere. This is about the most amazing thing I ever seen. But I feel like the government had something to do with it, man. Like why so many people be missing and be hard to be found? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like kidnapping, like, I don't know, man. If y'all got y'all own ideas into this video, man, of how people be missing or what the government got to do with this, man, just drop it in the comments, man. But you know, if you have any reaction videos that you want me to make, drop them in the comments, man. I'm gonna do new videos every day. Plus, don't forget my reaction channel. Go drop by my reaction channel. I'm gonna drop more scary horror films on there. But I had to do a missing video on here today, man, because it just interests me how people come up missing. So let's get into this video.
Despite all of our modern technology, it's still possible to become hopelessly and completely lost almost anywhere. And when that happens, the odds of you getting found are beyond your control and almost undoubtedly stacked against you. Number 10. When police pull over this van, they find two suspects and one innocent woman inside who is bound by metal.
Tie the chain down or the neck.
The panic-stricken survivor tells police about her ex-boyfriend and his new boyfriend, Samuel Brown, who pulled her out of her Las Vegas apartment, kicking and screaming, and stuffed her inside of the vehicle.
He stuffed her inside a vehicle.
So hard because I was like, this is how you die.
Jack Morgan and Samuel Brown eventually confess that they've been planning this abduction for over a year, though the details were never made public.
This is why you don't trust nobody. You don't trust no one.
Would have taken her life had the police not intervened. And judging from how unhinged her ex-boyfriend was acting in the back of the police car, she was probably right. Number 9. 6 hours after a 2-year-old girl named Camilla Vicks was reported missing by her mother. It's over 100 degrees outside and police are combing the blistering hot forest in Savannah, Georgia for any remaining traces of the small girl's whereabouts.
In Georgia, I know it's
The
hot.
wooded area is covered in dense greenery, and it's difficult to make out anything in front of them. It is starting to look like all hope is lost, but there is still plenty of daylight, so they march on in a long row. The
They were
search
getting
team
tired. That's all they
continues
were,
calling out to
lazy.
the child for quite some time, encountering tons of snakes and spiders all the while. When they finally get a loud and healthy response,
Where is she? Where is she? Where's she going? The child has been located.
leaning against the tree is the dehydrated 2-year-old, tired and hungry but still alive. She had been missing since the evening of the day before, but her disappearance was not reported until the next morning. Exactly what happened before Camilla went missing is unclear. The mother has not been charged because she was in what police called a crisis situation when she lost track of her child. If someone could fill me in on what exactly
How
that
you
legal
lose track
term
of a
means,
2-year-old
I would
child?
greatly appreciate it. Number 8.
How you lose your
This
child?
dramatic rescue footage was taken during the final hours of a 50-man search mission in the English village of Brancaster, Norfolk. Peter Pugh is a 75-year-old author who somehow has become separated from his group while walking along a beach at 5 o'clock in the evening. Eventually, he accidentally wandered into a dead swamp at night and becomes more lost than ever before. It kind of looks like he is hiding from the rescue team, but the poor exhausted man is actually trapped in sharp reeds that have latched onto his clothing and skin. The ground gave way from under him, and he has remained stuck in this uncomfortable position for the entire night.
Man, I don't know how
Well,
I've never
into the
lived
next
there, man.
day, it even looks like he is clutching at reeds to keep from sinking any further. A full
Like he in a
22
sinkhole or
hours
something.
pass before he is finally airlifted to safety. If not for the efforts of this police drone, all 50 rescuers could have easily passed over him numerous times. They most likely would have found his remains weeks or even years later without this aerial view. Number 7. A YouTuber named Steve Ronan is excited to explore the Ape Cave in Washington with his friends. They are laughing.
First of all, I had to pause it. Why do people think it's just okay to go adventure caves and stuff and just think it's okay, like nothing ain't gonna get them or somebody hunting in the cave or I don't know, man. Sometimes y'all just make me wonder. I need help.
Laughing and having a laid-back adventure for most of the video until they find a tiny wall opening that is almost too tight for any of them to
Why?
fit into. After squeezing their way down a cramped tunnel, they find something completely unexpected on the other side.
You speak no English? No? Oh, okay. Okay,
I've
come with us?
been left
A
things.
frightened girl
Sorry.
without a flashlight has somehow become lost and missing in the deep underground caverns. The group of friends eventually help bring her through the maze of tunnels and reunite her with her caretakers. It's a happy ending, but I can't help but imagine what would have happened if she wasn't accidentally rescued. It looks like she was petrified with fear and not going anywhere on her own. With that said, it definitely would have been hard, if not impossible, to locate her in the dark, with her tiny voice bouncing off the cave walls from all angles. Number 6.
No, I know she was
A woman
scared.
is paying
Scared.
her respects to a family member in Brazil when she hears muffled noises coming from a nearby gravesite. She
She
sees
did?
the earth moving and realizes with horror that someone is actually struggling to climb out. As it turns out, this person has gone missing for days after getting into an argument. Someone beat him senseless and then took his unconscious body to the cemetery, where they proceeded to bury him alive.
No, y'all
Paramedics
sick
are
for
able
that,
to
bro.
determine a pulse and quickly excavate him from his shallow tomb just in time to save his life. Judging from this video, the poor man would have been a goner for certain, if not for the grieving woman who just happened to be close enough to hear his cries for help. Number 5. A group of Vietnamese villagers are busy chopping firewood when they see two wild-eyed men running in the jungle. One of them is middle-aged and the other looks twice as old. It is the first
Shit, I'd be
time
scared to
anyone
look
has
at him.
seen them in 40 years. The oldest survivor is a villager named Tarn. In 1973, he disappeared into the jungle to hide from American troops. His wife set off a landmine while holding 2 of his children, but he managed to escape with his 3rd son, Lang, who was only 2 years old at the time. Together, Tarn and Lang survived off of the land for 4 full decades, devouring nothing but rice, fruit, and vegetables while dressed in loincloths made of tree bark. They were totally isolated from society until they were discovered living in a tree house in 2013. I thought they would have been more excited to be rescued, but I can't help but notice how uncomfortable they both look instead, especially Lang, who truly is in a foreign world and barely speaks the language. Check out the surprised expressions on their faces, and let me know if you think they would have preferred living a simpler life in the jungle after all. Number 4.
Shit, when they get in the real world, see
A young
Texas and
boy
shit,
from
I was like,
Weifang
bet they
City,
would.
China goes missing while playing with some friends. The 3-year-old somehow gets separated from the group and plunges 33 feet down a vertical pipe before getting stuck in a particularly narrow section. Now a dozen firefighters are working hard to get to him before he makes the full 300-foot drop straight down. The stale air is filthy and potentially contaminated down there. So their first step is to pump fresh oxygen to the child, using hoses and
Dude.
tanks before he passes out, with the child able to breathe again. They patiently monitor
How they-
him
how
with
they- how do they
cameras
let him
and try
get
to
down there?
figure
Like,
out the most
why do y'all
safe
be
and
watching
efficient
our
way to bring
kids?
him above ground. It's an extremely tense situation because one false move could send him even further below. At the same time, waiting too long would inevitably have the same result. If you happen to speak the language, tell me what this relative is saying here. After more than 2 hours of careful planning, they finally managed to remove the child using ropes and a safety harness. The child is physically okay, but I can't help but wonder how this intense emotional damage will manifest itself later in life. Number 3. Aldi Adelang is 19 years old and making a living as a fisherman in Indonesia. One night, while fast asleep, his small fishing raft accidentally detaches from the dock and floats out to sea. It looks like a sturdy vessel, but judging from its size, the small raft was probably meant to navigate rivers, never the vast ocean. So imagine his absolute horror when Aldi wakes up miles from land without a clue how to get back home. It was the
Then he'd be
beginning
like,
of a 49-day journey that almost ended his life. Supplies last only a couple days before dwindling down to nothing, after which Aldi survives by eating fish and filtering seawater through his shirt. His tiny craft has no engine or paddles, and every day he is forced to travel in whatever direction the waters and wind carry him. Many ships pass him by without a second thought. Finally, after traveling more than 80 miles on the Pacific Ocean, this large ship travels close enough to pick up his radio signal. They immediately turn around to help. Aldi still has to swim a terribly long distance across the open ocean to this boat and grab onto the ladder. It would have been terrible to let go and sink into the ocean after coming this far. But fortunately, Aldi hangs strong and lives to tell his entire ordeal in person.
I would not go back
Number
on that
2,
raft, to tell you the truth.
Scientists are measuring snow levels in various locations throughout the Andes Mountains when their helicopter briefly stops at a remote mountain cabin to resupply. Inside, they find the emaciated frame of Raul Gomez, a man who has been missing for 4 months straight. He had been traveling from Chile to Argentina by motorcycle when a mechanical breakdown forced him off of the road. He found shelter and survived on whatever he could find in the months that followed, mostly raisins left behind in the cabin and rats that he caught in a homemade trap. Raul was originally called a hero, but apparently he was trying to escape from a dark history. The crafty survivor was reportedly fleeing the country after being accused of forcing himself upon a child.
Oh,
The
he
last
got
thing
what
I
he
could
deserved.
find, officials were asking for him to be returned back to Chile for trial. Unfortunately, I don't know if he was ever taken back and put to justice. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. I recently released a music video for my song Sidelined, and I'd love to get your opinion on it. Tap the circle icon in the top right corner, then tap my music video to give it a watch. It's also linked in the description below. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person, so if you're generous enough to hit that subscribe button and the bell beside it, then thank you. This way you'll be notified of the new videos I upload every Thursday and Saturday. Number 1. Hannah Anderson is a 16-year-old girl who has been a long-time obsession of James DiMaggio, a 40-year-old friend of the family. One day, James snaps and takes out Hannah's entire family before burning her garage down. Next, he takes Hannah all the way from San Diego, California, to the backwaters of Idaho against her will. She is busy fearing for her life when a group of horseback riders randomly spot the two of them in the forest. They don't think anything of it until later when they receive an alert on their phones warning of Hannah's disappearance. The horseback riders lead authorities back to the campsite where they last saw Hannah. Now an FBI jet is monitoring their every move from thousands of feet in the air. This is the exact moment when Hannah spots the aircraft and signals for help. She keeps waving for help while James tends to the campfire with his back turned. Relying on her bravery and quick wits, Hannah is able to quietly alert authorities without drawing suspicion. The FBI knows they have found
She
their
was
target
heavy,
and
man. Why y'all
quickly
messing
sends
with
in
the
a
girl,
squad
man?
on foot. There's a short firefight, and by the end of it, Hannah is safe and James is no longer alive. As you watch these YouTubers flee in terror, I encourage you to think how you would have reacted if you were in their situations, and what lengths you would go just to spend a few extra moments alive.
Hope y'all enjoyed the video, man.